Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise to the top of their field while others struggle for years without making real progress? Maybe you've asked yourself, how long will it take for me to become a master? Can I really reach the top 20%? Well, you're not alone. This isn't about luck or talent. It is about understanding a simple principle that separates the elites from everyone else. Today, we're going to break down what it really takes to reach mastery, why most people fail, and how you can avoid the same mistakes. When it comes to mastering any field, the first thing you need to understand is a principle that is quietly shaping the world around you. It's called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20th rule. And trust me, once you get this, it will change the way you look at success forever. Here's how it works. In any field, about 20% of people create 80% of the results. That's true whether you're talking about business, sports, arts, or even academics. The top 20%. They are the ones who are earning the most, producing the most, and making the biggest impact. Meanwhile, the remaining 80%, they work just as hard, maybe even harder, but they only get a fraction of the results. Think about it. Look around you, in your own field, whether it's coding, marketing, music, or sports. There are always a few people who seem to do so much more than everyone else. They're the ones everyone admires, follows, and often tries to copy. And then there's the crowd, the 80%, hustling day after day, grinding, trying, but never really breaking through. Now here is the kicker. Every single person in that top 20% started at the bottom. Who's like you? They weren't born super talented or magically successful. They started in the 80% group, failing, making mistakes, struggling to see results. So if they can do it, why not you? This is where most people get it wrong. They see the top 20% and think, oh, they're lucky. They had the right connections. They were born talented. But that's not true. The difference is focus and persistence, and knowing where to put your energy. Let's break this down further. Imagine you want to become a master at something. Anything. It could be playing the guitar, coding, public speaking, or building a business. How do you go from zero to mastery? The answer is intense, deliberate practice. And here's a number 2, remember. 10,000 hours. Yes, 10,000 hours might sound like a lot, because it is. But hear me out. If you spend about 4 hours a day fully focused on your craft, with real passion and intention, you'll reach 10,000 hours in roughly 7 years. 7 years. That's Italiano. 7 years of committed, purposeful effort, and you can be at the top of your field. Now, let me clarify what I mean by 10,000 hours. It's not just putting in time. It's not about being busy. Some people think that if they spend 12 hours at their desk, they're making progress. That's not true. The 10,000 hours only count if you are fully engaged, fully focused, and learning something new every day. You need to push yourself, experiment, fail, and correct your mistakes over and over again. Here's the beautiful part. Every master was once a disaster. Every top performer, every elite professional, every successful entrepreneur, they all started by failing. And that's the point. Failure is part of the process. You can't skip it. You can't avoid it. You just have to keep going. Let's make this real with an example. Imagine a farmer in a village hit by a severe drought. The land had been dry for 3 years, and no one knew how to grow crops. The villagers were desperate. One day, someone told a farmer, if you dig a 100-foot well at this exact spot, water will come, and your fields will flourish. So the farmer dug, and he didn't just dig casually. He worked day after day, putting all his energy, all his focus, into reaching that depth. After he hit 100 feet, water started flowing. Suddenly, his crops grew lush and green, yielding far more than anyone expected. His neighbors saw this and were amazed. They wanted the same results, so they tried to copy him. But here's the difference. Instead of digging one deep well like he did, They scatter their efforts. They dug 80 feet in one spot, 85 in another, 90 in the next, and eventually gave up when water didn't appear immediately. In total, they dug more than the first farmer, but they never reached the depth needed in any single spot. No water came there. Crops failed. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Success requires focus. You can spread yourself thin across 10 projects and expect any of them to make a breakthrough. You have to dig deep in one area. You have to commit fully until you reach the results you're aiming for. And this isn't just a story about farming. This is life. This is business. This is sports. This is art. Whatever your field, the same rule applies. If you scatter your effort, you'll stay in the bottom 80%. If you go deep consistently, passionately, and deliberately, you'll be in the top 20%. Now, you might be thinking, 7 years is a long time. I'm 20 years old now. Will I still be too late if I start? Let me tell you something. You're never too early, and you're never too late. In 7 years, you'll be 27 anyway. The only question is whether you have invested those years in becoming a master, or whether you let them slip by. The choice is yours. Here is the truth. Most people don't reach the top, not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience and focus. They quit too early. They try too many things at once, and they never dig deep enough to hit the water, the success. But if you follow the process, if you commit to your 10,000 hours with heart and intention, you can achieve mastery in any field you choose. So here's what I want you to take away from this chapter. Understand the 80-20th rule. Only 20% create most of the results. Accept that you'll start in the bottom 80%. That's okay. Every young does. Commit to 10,000 hours of focused, passionate practice. Stay patient and persistent. Failure is part of the process. Focus deeply on one thing at a time. Don't scatter your energy. This is the foundation of success. Once you grasp this, you can move on to the next steps. The strategies, habits, and mindset shifts that take you from beginner to elite. Because mastery isn't about luck. It's about focus, effort, and smart practice. And if you're ready to put in the work, the top 20% isn't just a dream. It's a plan you can follow. Now that you understand the 80-20th principle and the 10,000-hour rule, it's time to talk about the second critical ingredient for mastery: focus and consistent effort. This is where most people fail, not because they aren't capable, but because they scatter their energy, jumping from one thing to another without committing fully. Let's go back to our farmer's story. Remember the neighbors who tried to copy him. They dug multiple wells, each just short of the depth needed, and gave up. That's exactly what most people do in life. They start a business, a skill, or a project, and when it doesn't produce instant results, they quit or shift focus to something else. The lesson is clear. Half-hearted effort yields half-hearted results. If you want to reach the top 20% of your field, you must commit to one thing at a time. That means choosing a goal, putting your full energy into it, and going all the way until you achieve measurable results. And it's not just about time, it's about quality practice. You need to work smart, not hard. Smart practice involves pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. It's easy to practice what you already know or what comes naturally, but that won't make you a master. The real growth happens when you challenge yourself, make mistakes, and learn from them. Every failed attempt is a step closer to mastery, as long as you analyze, adjust, and keep going. Let us put this into perspective with an example most people can relate to. Learning a musical instrument. Imagine you want to become an expert guitarist. You could practice casually for a few hours each week, playing the same songs over and over. You'll improve a little, but chances are you'll plateau quickly. Now imagine a different approach. You spend 4 hours every day practicing deliberately, focusing on techniques you struggle with, learning new songs that push your skill, recording yourself, and analyzing mistakes. You might feel frustrated at times, but every day, you're making measurable progress. Over months and years, that daily, focused effort compounds. And after 7 years, you're no longer just good. You're in the top 20%. This principle applies to any field: coding, writing, sports, entrepreneurship, public speaking, or even social influence. The combination of focus, repetition, and deliberate improvement compounds over time. Success isn't magic. It's a result of small, consistent actions repeated relentlessly. Another key point is resilience. The road to mastery is never smooth. You will face obstacles, criticism, and self-doubt. Some days, it will feel like nothing is working, like you're wasting your time, but that's normal. Everyone who reaches the top experiences setbacks. The difference is they keep digging. They don't give up after 80 or 90 feet. They keep going until they hit water. Think of top athletes or entrepreneurs. They don't achieve success overnight. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Elon Musk faced multiple failures with SpaceX rockets before finally succeeding. J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter book was rejected by multiple publishers. What separates them from everyone else isn't talent, it's persistence and focus. Now let's bring this closer to your life. Take a moment and think about your own goals. Are you focusing on one thing deeply, or spreading your energy too thin? Are you practicing with real intention, or just going through the motions? Are you willing to face failure, learn from it, and keep going? If not, you're sabotaging your own success. Here's a practical framework to make focus and consistency work for you. Pick one field or skill to master. Don't chase multiple things at once. The more scattered your effort, the slower your progress. Set a measurable goal. Instead of saying, "I want to be good at coding," aim for something specific, like building a full-stack app or contributing to a real project. Break it into daily steps. Work consistently every day, even if it's just a few hours. The key is repetition over time. Track your progress. Record results, mistakes, and lessons learned. This keeps you motivated and ensures improvement. Embrace failure. Mistakes are your best teacher. Analyze why you failed and adapt your strategy. Consistency is like compounding interest. At first, the results may seem small or invisible, but over time, they grow exponentially. This is exactly what separates the top 20% from everyone else. It's not luck or innate talent. It's the compounding effect of focused, consistent action. And here's the secret most people overlook. Passion fuels consistency. If you don't genuinely enjoy what you're doing, it will be impossible to stick with it for 10,000 hours. That's why choosing something that excites you. Something you feel compelled to work on even when it's hard is critical. Passion is the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets tough. Finally, remember this. The top 20% are not smarter or luckier than you. They are simply more focused, more resilient, and more deliberate in their efforts. They commit fully to one thing, embrace failure as part of the journey, and keep improving every day. So, here's the challenge for you. Pick your field, pick your goal, and start digging. Don't worry about instant results. Don't worry about what others are doing. Focus on your own growth, day by day, hour by hour. Because every deep, consistent effort takes you closer to mastery, and eventually, you'll hit the water. Your breakthrough moment. Remember the farmer. Digging in multiple spots didn't work. Digging deep in one spot did. The same applies to your life. Focus, consistency, resilience, and deliberate practice. This is your blueprint to move from the bottom 80% to the top 20%. By now, you've learned about the Pareto principle, the 10,000-hour rule, and the importance of focus and consistency. But knowing this, isn't it enough? Most people fail not because they don't understand these concepts, but because they don't apply them strategically. Mastery requires not only effort, but also smart strategies that accelerate your growth and help you overcome inevitable obstacles. Let's start with the first strategy. Deliberate practice with feedback. Practicing blindly, without knowing what you're doing wrong, is like digging a well without checking if you're heading in the right direction. You might put in thousands of hours and still not hit the water. Feedback is critical. It tells you what's working and what isn't, so you can adjust and improve faster. Whether it's a coach, mentor, peer review, or self-assessment, you need regular, honest feedback to guide your efforts. Second, break your goals into milestones. One of the biggest mistakes people make is aiming too high without a clear plan. If your goal is to become a top programmer, a top athlete, or a top entrepreneur, don't focus on the final outcome yet. Instead, set achievable milestones. Mastering a particular skill, completing a project, or hitting measurable results. These milestones give you motivation, trackable progress, and the confidence to keep moving forward. Next is embracing failure as a learning tool. Remember the farmer from the last chapter? The neighbors who quit were the ones who couldn't handle failure. In real life, you'll face your own setbacks. Maybe a project fails. Maybe a client rejects your work. Maybe your experiments don't produce results. But each failure is data. Each mistake is a clue showing you what doesn't work and pointing you closer to what does. The more willing you are to fail and file fast, the quicker you learn, adapt, and improve. Another critical strategy is time blocking for deep work. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Phones, social media, notifications. If you want to reach the top 20% in your field, you need uninterrupted, focused hours. Even just 2 to 4 hours a day of deep, concentrated work can make a massive difference over years. And yes, quality matters more than quantity. 2 focused hours of deliberate practice beats 8 distracted hours any day. Let's also talk about mentorship and modeling success. One of the fastest ways to accelerate growth is by learning from someone who has already been where you want to go. Instead of reinventing the wheel, study their methods, habits, and mindset. Mentors can give you shortcuts, warn you of common mistakes, and hold you accountable. Even if you can't find a personal mentor, studying the lives of successful people, their books, interviews, and strategies can be equally powerful. Next is the power of compounding knowledge. You've probably heard of compound interest in finance, but the same principle applies to skills and knowledge. Every day you learn something new, refine a skill, or correct a mistake, your expertise compounds. Small, consistent improvements add up over months and years. That SY. Consistency ISNT. Just important. It SY. Multiplies the impact of every hour you invest. Now let's talk about mindset. Many people give up, not because they lack skill, but because they underestimate the journey. Patience is essential. You won't become a master overnight. You'll hit plateaus where it feels like nothing is improving. But these plateaus are normal. They're part of the learning curve. Instead of quitting, you need to push through, trusting that the effort you're putting in now will pay off exponentially later. Here's another strategy that often gets overlooked. Focus on leverage points. In every field, there are certain activities or skills that produce disproportionately large results. Think of them as high-impact actions. Identify these actions in your field and prioritize them. In business, it could be acquiring the right clients. In music, mastering foundational techniques. In sports, perfecting core movements. By focusing on these leverage points, you accelerate progress without wasting effort on low-impact activities. Let's tie this together with a story. Imagine a young entrepreneur who wants to become a top software developer. At first, they try everything at once. Coding, design, marketing, networking. But nothing sticks. Progress is slow, frustration builds, and they're tempted to quit. Then they refocus. They pick one language, dedicate 3 hours a day to learning it with deliberate practice. Get feedback from mentors, and set small milestones for completing projects. Slowly, their skill improves. They fail, adjust, fail again. But each failure teaches them something. Within a few years, their focused, strategic effort puts them far ahead of peers who are scattered and inconsistent. The lesson is clear. Strategy amplifies effort. Without strategy, even thousands of hours may not lead to mastery. With the right approach, deliberate practice, feedback, Milestones. Failure as learning. Deep work, mentorship, and leverage your journey becomes faster, more predictable, and far more effective. Finally, remember this. The top 20% didn't just get lucky. They followed a system. They combined focus, effort, and strategy. And you can do the same. You just have to commit, be patient, and work smart. So here's your action step for this chapter. Identify your high-level skills, set a clear milestone for the next 3 months, and commit to focused, deliberate practice. Track your progress, embrace setbacks as lessons, and keep digging deep. Over time, your results will compound, and you'll start seeing the breakthrough you've been working for. Mastery isn't a mystery. It's a science of effort and strategy. And when you apply these principles consistently, you move steadily from the bottom 80% into the elite top 20%. If there is one thing that destroys more dreams than failure ever will, it's distraction. Most people don't quit because they're incapable. They quit because something else caught their attention at the wrong time. They quit because the journey felt slow, the rewards felt far away, and the world around them kept whispering, there must be an easier way. But mastery is not built on shortcuts. It's built on a mindset that refuses to give up when things get boring, tough, or uncertain. Let's be real for a moment. No matter how motivated you are right now, there will come a day when you won't want to work. Not at all. You'll wake up tired, drained, or frustrated, and your passion won't feel strong enough to carry you. Maybe life will throw challenges at you. Bills will pile up, friends will move ahead, or people around you will say hurtful things like, "This isn't going to work. Try something else." And that's when the real battle begins. The enemy is not outside, it's inside. It's the voice that says, you can start tomorrow. It's the voice that says, you're not good enough. It's the voice that says, why bother? Others are already better than you. That voice is subtle, but powerful. It's patient. It waits for the exact moment when you feel weak, and then it steps in. That voice is the reason why people switch careers again and again, never mastering anything, never finishing what they start. You see, distractions don't always look like distractions. Sometimes they look like opportunities. You may be working on one skill, one dream, one path and end. Suddenly someone tells you, hey, there's this new thing. It pays more. It's easier. It's trending. And for a moment, you're tempted. Who wouldn't be? The world is full of shiny objects. A new job sounds exciting. A new business idea feels promising. A completely different career looks like a shortcut. But what feels like a shortcut is usually just another detour. If you switch paths every time things get tough, you'll spend your life digging shallow holes. You'll go 10 feet deep here, 20 feet there, maybe even 60 or 70 feet somewhere else. But you'll never reach the 100 feet required to hit water. And without water, nothing grows. Not your career, not your skills, not your confidence. Let me give you a practical example. Think about the gym. The first month, everyone is excited. New shoes, new clothes, new routine. They take selfies. They feel motivated. They promise themselves great results. But after 3 weeks, the excitement fades. Results are slow. Work is hard. Muscles ache. Life gets busy, and suddenly, people skip one day. Then 2, then a week. And before they realize it, they're back where they started, except now they feel guilty too. The gym didn't fail them. They failed themselves because they expected quick results. They thought motivation would carry them forever. And when motivation died, they didn't have discipline to take its place. Mastery works the exact same way. Whether you're learning, coding, editing, speaking, writing, managing a business, or any skill, the first few weeks feel exciting. But after that, the excitement fades and the real grind begins. And this is where most people quit. But here's the good news. If you understand this pattern, you can break it. You can win. The key is delayed gratification, choosing long-term success over short-term pleasure. Every time you discipline yourself to stay focused, stay consistent, and stay committed, you're building a stronger future. even on days when you don't feel like working, even when results are invisible. Every hour you put in counts toward your 10,000 hours. Think of mastery like climbing a mountain. When you start, the mountain looks huge and intimidating, but as long as you take one step at a time, you'll eventually reach the top. The problem is, most people don't stop because they're tired. They stop because the top feels too far away. They look up and get discouraged, instead of looking at how far they've already come. There is a moment in every success story where the person had every reason to quit, but they didn't. They chose to keep going. That decision is what separates the 20% masters from the 80% average crowd. Everyone who ever made it big struggled. Every great athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every master of a craft has experienced days when everything felt pointless. But they didn't rely on motivation. They relied on discipline, and discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you say no to distractions, you're building discipline. Every time you choose work over comfort, you're building discipline. Every time you remind yourself of your long-term vision, you're building discipline. The truth is, distraction is dangerous because it feels harmless. You think you're just taking a break? You think you're just scrolling for 5 minutes? You think you're just watching one video? And before you know it, hours are gone, time you could have invested in your future. Doubt is dangerous because it feels like honesty. You think you're just being realistic. You think you're protecting yourself. But in reality, doubt is stealing your potential. And the desire to quit is dangerous because it feels justified. You think you're doing what's sensible. You think you're saving yourself from failure. But quitting guarantees failure. So here's the golden rule for Chapter 5. When things get hard, don't quit. When you feel bored, don't switch lanes. When you lose motivation, rely on discipline. And when doubt whispers, remind yourself why you started. You are closer to mastery than you think. Success doesn't come suddenly, it builds quietly, day after day, hour after hour, choice after choice. And even when you can't see the results yet, the universe is keeping score. Your efforts are being counted. Your hours are adding up. Your journey is progressing. Stay focused. Stay committed. Stay patient. The top 20% is waiting for those who stay long enough to reach it. So we are at the end of this journey, but in reality, this is just the beginning of yours. Everything you've learned so far leads to one simple truth. Mastery is a choice. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't fall into your lap. It grows slowly, silently, and consistently inside the person who decides, I'm not stopping until I make it. Think about everything you've discovered in this video, the power of the 80/20 rule, the meaning behind the 10,000-hour formula, the importance of focus, the danger of distractions, and the strength needed to push through doubt. These are not just ideas. These are the laws of success. Anyone who rose to greatness followed them, whether they knew it or not. And now, you know them too. But here's the part most people don't understand. Nothing changes until you start. Inspiration without action is nothing more than entertainment. You can watch 1,000 motivational videos, read 100 books, listen to every podcast, but if you don't take even one step toward your dream today, nothing in your life will be different tomorrow. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a flawless plan. You don't need to wait for the right time. The right time is now. The right place is here. And the right person is you. Ask yourself, what skill do you want to master? What field do you want to enter the top 20% of? What dream keeps coming back again and again, even when you try to ignore it? That dream is calling you for a reason. It belongs to you. It's part of your identity, part of your future, and part of the life you're meant to build. But a dream stays a dream until you give it direction. So make today the day you stop digging shallow holes and commit to going all the way down 100 feet deep, all the way to success. Make today the day you choose consistency over comfort, discipline over distraction, and progress over perfection. Because 7 years from now, you'll look back at this exact moment and say, one of two things. I'm so glad I started, or I wish I had started. The choice is yours, and your future is waiting.